Okay, well, we'd like to welcome everybody who's logged on and is being with us tonight, and welcome any of those who join us later on via the recording. Welcome. We're excited to share with you a program that we've spent quite a bit of time building and developing, and we're hoping to spend some time with you to kind of introduce you to the subject and hopefully invite you to be a partner with us moving forward over the next 3 years. Just as you heard, this is being recorded. We'll be posting this on the website probably tomorrow morning for those who were not able to attend this evening. And I also want to just let you know this is an open house. This is not some formal scholarly presentation. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. If you'd like to put them in the chat, we can stop at the end of each slide and address any chat questions that exist. If it is a question that we know we're going to be addressing later on with the slide, we might hold off on answering the question at that time. But this is a little bit more casual. I'm not worried about being interrupted. So with that, all right, what we'd like to do is start out with the purpose of the open house. I guess I should start by introducing myself. My name is Vernon Parent, and I've worked for Utah State University for the last 20 years. I've started out working in agriculture and then moved into youth programs, found I had a passion and a love with working with youth. And so I'm a scientist at heart. My background and training is in science, but I love sharing that science with youth and trying to inspire and spark that interest in them. I've also found that I have a love and passion for teaching leadership and helping youth find that spark of leadership within them as well. The next slide we'll move into introducing the full team, and I'll let Kelsey do that, but I want to just kind of talk about a little bit more about what the purpose of this open house is all about. We did receive a grant from DWS. It is a TANF grant, which means it's federally funded. That means that there's always strings attached. And so what we want to do is talk to you a little bit more about what our goals and objectives are with this grant, what the expectations are, what our objectives, and how you as possible partners in this grant would be able to participate. This grant is specifically focused towards youth councils, with an emphasis towards youth councils that already exist. They do not have to be currently affiliated with Utah State University at all, but we're hoping that through this grant they can become a little bit closer and realize the advantages that Utah State University can bring to a youth organization. And we want to really kind of share with you why we feel we have a lot to share with youth programs statewide, and what assets and resources that we provide for you. And I think that as you'll go through the slideshow today, you'll be able to learn more about that. And as you join us as partners, I think that you will be very pleased with the resources that we do provide. So I'm going to pass it off to Kelsey, and we will now introduce the staff that's involved with this grant.
Okay, thanks. So Vernon just introduced himself a little bit, but just a reminder, he's got a leadership role over the state 4-H youth programs, and he's based out of Salt Lake County. And then we have Deborah Ivy. She's over STEM youth programming, also on a statewide appointment. My name's Kelsey Romney. I have a statewide appointment over college and career readiness for youth programming. And then we have Peggy Hoffman. She is our new Teen Spheres of Influence program coordinator. She's kind of the glue that's going to hold us all together. Then we have Jessica Mortensen. She's over the Uinta area, which also services Carbon and Duchesne counties. And then we have Ellie Swan, who's over the Washington area. She's also servicing the Kane and Iron County areas. And then we have Andrea Hernandez. She is based in Salt Lake, and she is over Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. And then last, but of course not least, we have Jessica Anderson. She is in San Pete County, and she is servicing San Pete and San Juan County areas.
I just want to throw out that this is a great and amazing team. Kelsey and Deb and myself put the grant together. We all added our own little bits. We're kind of excited to share our expertise in those areas. And as you learn more about the program and join us, you'll be able to definitely access their strengths and their abilities and what they have to offer. The staff, man, we really want you guys to become familiar with them. They're going to be your local go-to, the face of what the program is. And we're just really excited to have such an amazing team. So we'll move to the next slide and turn some time over to Deb.
Okay, I want to just take a minute and tell you just a little bit of background information about Utah State University Extension, and then a little bit about this grant and how and why it came to be. So for those of you who might not be as familiar with what Extension is the practical application arm of Utah State University. In every state, there is at least one university, sometimes two, that have what is called an extension program. And the goal of the extension program is to take the resources of the university and share some applied sciences with all the counties throughout the state. And Utah State University has that mandate through extension. Some of the areas that the research is related to are agriculture and natural resources, home sciences, engineering and other science, and manufacturing. Go ahead, Kels. The role of extension throughout the state is to be mobile teachers and technical advisors, that our job, like I said, is to take practical application of research-based things and get them out into the community. And so that is basically what we're here to do. The youth programs arm of Utah State University, one of our flagship programs, well, our flagship program is Utah 4-H, and its purpose is positive youth development through research and evidence-based programming. In other words, we find best practices through research, and then we figure out how to apply them. And the key thing we use to do youth programs throughout the state is the experiential learning model, which we'll talk a lot more about in the future. But the basics behind that is the experiential learning model is a very hands-on way of learning, that we want kids to learn and then apply what they learned and reflect on it and then extend what they learned to real life. Some of the areas of focus of Utah 4-H include science, healthy living, and citizenship and leadership. And we'll touch on all of those. Our role in extension with youth programming is to teach. We also work on modeling best practices and then providing real life meaningful experiences to youth throughout the state that will help them as they prepare for college and careers and for their future. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this grant. So Teen Spheres of Influence is it's funded through what's called the TANF 3 grant through the Utah Department of Workforce Services. And they have a very specific agenda of what they're looking to address. And those are needs in the community. And very specifically, this grant is looking at addressing high-risk behaviors that kids might exhibit. And one of the key behaviors they are looking at focusing on is teen pregnancy, and then other risky behaviors that go along with that, such as substance abuse or mental health issues, which isn't really a behavior, but it can really put kids at risk. And they're also looking to prevent suicide. So what we did as we looked at our grant and thought, at writing this grant and thought, how could we do this? We went and we did some research, and we took some deeper looks at what things affect these high-risk behaviors. And we formed a program around things that we can do to help with those behaviors. And as we talk more about those, they may seem a little bit indirect to you. They're not, we're not going out and teaching kids they shouldn't get pregnant or saying directly, don't do drugs. We're influencing behaviors and using methodologies that tend to prevent or correlate with kids participating less in those behaviors. Okay, as I said, it's research-based. Research studies have shown that the development of resiliency, or another word for it is grit in youth, has a very strong correlation with resistance of unhealthy behaviors such as teen pregnancy and actually teen suicide and some other risky behaviors. When young people experience strong developmental relationships with program leaders during a service experience, they're more likelihood to have social responsibility, to show leadership skills, to develop a sense of community, set a strong identity, and set goals that they stretch to reach those goals. Some of the most successful mitigating factors for developing resilience and preventing teen pregnancy and other risky behaviors include interaction with a non-parental mentor, participation in service learning, and participation in near-peer or cross-age mentoring. Mitigating factors mean things that prevent, or if someone's on a path towards something destructive, a mitigating factor is something that kind of intervenes in that path and helps it not to happen. If you look at teen pregnancy in particular, these three factors, having an adult mentor who is a peer, who is not, or who is important to them that is not their parent, being involved in service learning, and having a near peer or mentor just a little bit older than the youth are, all of these three have a very direct and high correlation with the prevention of teen pregnancy, the prevention of drugs use, and prevention of suicide, a surprisingly high correlation. So you'll see those as we begin to talk about our program, you'll see those are key things that we focus on in what we're doing. Okay, one last point on there is it's especially important with low-income youth.
Okay, so what does that mean for us? You know, and those were just a few citations. There's dozens of citations that we have access to. And I think it's really, really important that you understand and know that what we're trying to prevent here is risky behavior in all youth. And we think we have just an amazing program that's gonna help us to accomplish that. And so what we've done is we've designed a program that's going to be able to accomplish the following. We want to build developmental relationships, and we will teach you what that means, but it goes back to that relative adult that you're going to have a connection with. We think it's critical that we build you up as adult advisors to these youth councils and strengthen your toolbox and your skill set so you're more effective at working with these youth as individuals, developing that relationship and really being that mentor to them. And we're going to be able to provide those training skills for that. We really want to focus on building skills within the youth councils themselves. We want to build the program, and let's be honest with you. There's some programs out there that are amazing. They probably don't need what we're offering. I'm hoping that they'll be part of our program too, because they might be able to mentor other youth organizations, because part of what we want to see is that collaborative effort between youth councils. But there are some youth councils that are just holding on by the seat of their pants. The youth advisor is a volunteer and is willing to help, but maybe has never been trained as a teacher or as a mentor and doesn't know how to work with youth. We want to go in there and help them. We want to help build their program. We want to find out what their goals and objectives are within their program and how can we enhance what they're trying to do through the programming that we will be partnering with them on. We want to be really focusing on building those kids' experiences, their skills as well. And really, that's really what this all comes back down to, is strengthening and empowering those individuals and then allowing them to go out and make a change in their communities. And that's like that final thing right there, that service learning and near-peer mentoring. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to implement it. And research has shown time and time again that if you really want kids to apply and implement change in their life, it's most effective when they do it through some kind of service outreach or near-peer mentoring opportunities. The research there, it shows it. So ultimately, our desired outcome for the whole program is to build self-efficacy, resiliency, and grit, and to reduce those risky behaviors. So our program, Teen Spheres of Influences. Where the heck did we even get a name like that? I'm going to tell you how this, well, I'll go through the advisor thing and then I'll tell you with the youth. Okay, so with the advisors, we don't think it's just about working with the youth. We feel very strongly that it's about building up the advisors and building the programs themselves. So we're not looking to create a new youth program. It's not what we're here. We want to invite youth councils that might be healthy living youth councils, or maybe they're a Hope Squad, or maybe they're a youth city council or a teen council. We'll take anybody who's a youth council, and we want to take their program, find out what their goals and objectives are, and enhance those. And we feel it's really, really important that the advisor receiving professional development is a critical aspect of that. With the youth, what we want to do is, and this is where that spheres of influence terminology comes from. It starts with the individual. It starts with the inner sphere of what's going on inside them, their personal leadership skills, ethics, values, all of those kind of things. Where do they sit? How do they stand? How resilient are they? And then as they develop and learn about their own skills and abilities, how do they then interact and associate with those around them? Those within the youth council, their peers at school and in the family, all of those things. But how do they then start to have those interpersonal relationships, the emotional intelligence, all of those kind of things? What does that look like? And how can we build and develop those skills and assets? And then expanding that sphere even further from the self, then the small intimate group, to then going out and truly making a change in the community, and trying to help these kids understand that they can actually not only help build their own skills, but then share those with others. And through that sharing process, either through service or near-peer mentoring, they are actually enhancing their own lives and those that they touch. So that's the whole purpose and the core aspects of what the Teen Spheres of Influence program really is all about. I'm pretty passionate about this. You know, we always hear a lot that youth, we're training the leaders for tomorrow. And I would argue if you go on, and that might be true for people my age. Here, I'm 50 years old. But if you look at the youth today, we have people from the Middle East standing up for their rights, putting stuff on social media, and touching the lives of kids across the world. We have youth from the South Pacific who are concerned about waste and trash that's coming up on their beaches, and they start a social media campaign that reaches people around the world. We have 16 and 14-year-olds being world leaders. So we're not only dealing with trying to raise the leaders of tomorrow, we want to inspire and empower these kids to be the leaders of today, and to help them realize that they can make a difference, not only in their own lives, but in those around them. So what we want to see is these youth councils applying what they've learned, that what we'll teach them, what we'll enhance your program with, and go out and make a difference. We want them to make plans, and we don't have a set program that says you have to do this kind of a thing. You have to do camps, or you have to do some kind of a summer program, or you have to do a day in the park. We don't care what it looks like, but we want the youth to take these skills that they're going to be learning and then apply them and actually do some outreach programs. It's a critical element of this program. So what does it look like as far as structurally? How are we doing things in the grant, and how will it affect you? We have the grant administrators, myself, Deb, and Kelsey. We have area coordinators. They were introduced there at the beginning. They are amazing, knowledgeable people that understand how to teach and work with youth. They are experienced in working in youth leadership, and they're going to be assets to you in your program. And what we have written into the grant is we have the 11 targeted counties that our area coordinators are directly over. They're listed there on your screen. but we also created a pool of funds that could be utilized by other counties in the state and sites. And how we're doing that is we are actually counting a youth council as a site. So if we have a youth city council and they want to apply to be part of this program, they would be considered a site. We have funding for 30 sites. And so we have the application out. It's up on the website, I think, already. Is that right, Kelsey? Yep, it's already up. And so anybody who wants to go on and apply for that site, where we'd love to see your applications, we'll be having the various area coordinators will be working with you, trying to understand your needs and wants, and to see if this program is going to be a good fit for you in helping you reach your goals. Now, I'm just going to stop and remind you that if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat. If you want to voice a question, please feel free to do so. I'm fine with that. All right, so what's in it for you? Why should you be part of this Teen Spheres of Influence programming? Well, as we mentioned before, we are going to have annual professional development for the advisors. This year, it's going to be in October. We've got it already situated. It'll be down in St. George. You will have the opportunity to travel down there. We pay for your way, we pay for your hotel and your food, and you will attend a 2-day training. So it'll be a Friday and Saturday. If you want to extend the weekend, that's totally your business, and spend some time in lovely South Utah. And then we will be doing some quarterly online trainings as well that we will record, and we'll have different themes and subject matters to try to help help you and what you're looking for. Our area coordinators will be touching base with you and working with you directly to see what your needs are, and if we need to change what we're planning on teach to address a need that's right then, we'll be doing that. For our youth, they will have the opportunity to attend statewide conferences. These conferences, we have funding to send at least 8 youth from your various councils to these trainings. We have the funding so that I suppose if you wanted to give half scholarships to your kids and send 16 kids and they have to come up with half and we pay for half, that would be fine. We can work with that. You can do that with your various coordinators. But we are very interested in helping these youth learn not only on the local level, but interacting with kids statewide to really start to help build those collaborative efforts, to see how it applies to other youth, and to strengthen their own inner skills. In addition to the money to send the adult advisors to training and those youth to training, we will have $500. That's basically $50 for 10 months if you do 10 trainings. For supplies and activities that you might want to do with your kids. And then we'll be working with you to do program quality enhancement. We'll be providing curriculum that we have expectations that you will be utilizing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that under expectations. So with that, oh, and then you have the opportunity. I think that there's a lot of people out there that want to make a difference, but they don't quite know how. With our program, we're going to give you some basic, easy steps that will allow you to provide training for your youth on your monthly meetings, send them to some advanced trainings at statewide level, have them come back and plan some activities that they can really make a difference for in their local community. Some of you might be already in the groove and know exactly how to do that. Others might be like, I don't even know how to start. And the great thing about our program is we can address that with each of you and tailor make the program to help you and fit your needs as best possible. We have money to help support those community activities, and you can really go out and make an impact in your community. So we have some questions. All right. So yes, Bailey. I believe that the contact information for the coordinators is already on our website. And so, yes, you can get their phone number, their email. It's already there on the website. We'll make sure that you have access to the website at the end of tonight. But I believe it's probably been emailed out to most of you. In fact, Peggy, if you want to put in the website in the chat so everybody can see what that website is, that would be great.
Kelsey already has.
All right, Kelsey, she's amazing. She's awesome. All right, way to go, Kelsey. I didn't even need to address it. It was already done. Okay, any other questions relating to what you get out of the grant? Okay. All right. With a little bit of benefit comes a little bit of expectations, right? And so, and I will tell you that while we wrote the grant, we have to report back to our masters, Department of Workforce Services, and ultimately the federal government with how we've spent these funds and how the funds have been utilized effectively to project the change that we're looking for. So what does that look like for you guys? We expect if you want to participate in this program, you need to hold 10 meetings or trainings annually. Now, some of you might already do this, and it's easy. It's a no-brainer. In fact, we've really tried to design this program to partner with what you're already doing and to insert enhancements, but not to take over your program. We do not want to change what you do. We just want to enhance what you do. Some of you might be meeting twice this. Some of them meet twice a month, which would be 24. You guys would way surpass what we're expecting here. So 10 meetings per year. We have a series of curriculums. When we have our training in October, we'll be unveiling those curriculums. We'll be posting curriculums as we prepare and lead up to that, but not all of them will be posted until we reach that October training date. But just know that the main categories are in leadership, a lot focusing on soft skills, interpersonal stuff, service learning, developmental relationships, college and career readiness. So these are things that we've said in the grant that we will be utilizing. The great thing is that we're going to be providing a library of curriculum. So we mandate that you, like for example, do 3 leadership trainings, at least 3. But you get to pick from the library which leadership trainings are going to best suit you and your youth council. Maybe you need to work on communication. Maybe you need to work on brainstorming. Maybe you need to work on collaboration. Maybe you need to deal with just basic things like conflict management or trust. All of those are going to be curriculums. They're about 15 minutes. So if you have an hour to an hour and a half long meeting, this is going to be a slip-in training that you go in, you do this, it will enhance your youth, and then you'll be able to move forward. So we do require that you do 10 of these trainings throughout the year. We would really like to have the advisors attend the training in the fall. Now, as much as I would love to have all of you face-to-face, and we have the funds to bring you to St. George and have a face-to-face experience, we understand with the new environment of COVID that not all people are going to feel comfortable or can due to health risk issues. So just know that we will be doing this face-to-face. We're doing it in a very, very large room. Everybody will be sitting at their own table. There'll be social distancing. But those that still might have concerns with that, we will be trying to put it online as well. So you'll be able to attend the meeting over a Zoom format similar to this. The youth, we want them to attend one of those state conferences. We want them to come, experience, just get outside their own intimate family and experience what other leaders look like statewide. That collaboration, the sharing of ideas is so critical. And we just feel it's very, very important. So we're going to want to have your youth, whether it be just your officers, whether you try to send as many of the kids from your council as you can. Remember, we can fully fund up to 8. And if you want to break that money up and subsidize others, we can work on that with the various area representatives, area coordinators. And then we expect that each youth council will plan and implement an outreach program or event. What does that look like? You know, let's say, for example, you're a youth city council. You might already be doing outreach programs because the city has expectations that you help out with city days, or you help out with this farm field day, or you do some kind of event. Some of you are already doing these things. That's fine. What we expect is that you maybe make things a little bit more intentional. And you look at what the needs are in your community. Instead of just doing a city event, go, okay, what can we do to make a difference for the youth in our area? And then do that city event, but plan things accordingly to those needs, and then have those service or near peer experiences with the youth. We want this not just to be an event that, our city council planned it, we're just there to be grunts. No, we want the youth to plan it, and we want the youth to say, all right, this is how we're going to make a difference in our communities. Not only do we need to have a youth city days, but we need to have a reading nook, and we're going to do this with youth. Or we want to inspire kids to do STEM, and we're going to do elephant toothpaste, and we're going to do rockets, and it's going to be fun. The kids are going to get really excited about STEM. We want the youth to be able to go out and do these programs. One of the things that we have specific money set aside for is Family Night Out. This is where we bring families together and try to help them understand and provide for them the resources of the community. Whether it might be, you know what, we want to do a STEM night for the Latinos, and we're going to partner with Latinos in Action, and we're going to bring those Latino families in, and we're going to break the kids off, and the kids are going to have some fun, and then we're going to do some adult training. Or if we want to do combined family exercises and activities, those opportunities are going to be there for the youth councils to participate in. Once again, I want to reemphasize the reason why we're doing this is research has shown it's one thing to learn a skill in a classroom setting or even experientially in a group. It's another thing to then apply it by planning and implementing a program such as this, where the kids do service learning and or near peer mentoring. They need to have the experience of actually following through and running the program to truly integrate and build those skills that are going to build resiliency and grit and hold off those risk behaviors. And then, of course, there's going to be some reports, some surveys that we'll be asking for you to do. We will make it painless. They'll probably mostly be online through Qualtrics, but just realize that we have to report back how we do things. Okay, so we are now at the end. That was us. We went through a record time because there wasn't too many questions. So please, anybody who has questions, we'd love to answer them. If you'd like to text them, please feel free. Or if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask the question directly, please feel free to do so.
Hey, Vernon, can I address Mercedes' question?
Yes, please.
He's asking, with COVID-19 and having cities restrictions on, how do you feel like these activities will play out? So one example with this, we may have to make some adjustments this year. In fact, we're already sure we're going to have to make some adjustments this year. One example with the Family Night Out activities, rather than a family night out, it might be, depending on when you hold an activity, that it has to be a family night in, that we provide a way for families to participate on something that's online with other activities that they go off and do and then come back together online. We have some experience with that. Salt Lake County, where you're at in particular, did a family night activity for the county for 4-H this summer, and it went off really well. The families who came really enjoyed it. They did a lot of activities that families did on their own, and then they came together online for a pizza and game night. So we'll adjust. The bottom line, long story short, is we'll adjust as we have to. We'll still keep those components, but what those components look like may have to change this year. And we're aware of that, and we'll work with you on figuring out how to make that happen.
And we'll talk more fully about that at our training in October, ideas that you can utilize. But yes, no, it's a new world. We all understand that. So thank you for that. All right, Angela, I see your hand. Just a second. I'm going to address Ed's question. Edward, the grant cycle goes from July all the way through the year for 3 years. So we're already started. We're onboarding right now. We will probably have a new registration period every August for the next 3 years. So registration starts tonight. Every site can to apply for that. But this will be a 3-year cycle starting July of this year. Okay, next question. Yes, it runs 3 years. Yep. All right, Angela, go ahead.
So what's the process to get started? You go in and apply today. Do you wait to be accepted? How does that work? And then how do we get started? Is there something we can be doing before the training in October?
Great question. Kelsey, Deb, if you want to kick in, please feel free. But yes, I mean, COVID kind of set us back a little bit this year, to be honest. And so where we wanted trainings closer to the beginning of school, we weren't able to do that. So yes, applications are going on right now. We will have probably our 30 sites picked by the middle of September, and we will send out notices to you that your site has been approved, and to be ready to participate in that training in October. If you want to have your youth programs start already, we'll be starting to put up the curriculum so you can start implementing that curriculum into your program if you want. But our expectation is this first year, it's not going to start until October, and that's okay. But if you'd like to get started now, great. And we can send you more materials and let you do that.
Along with that, really the key thing that you would need to do to prepare is probably what you normally would be doing, and that would be getting your youth council together. You know, a lot of councils change a lot. There's a lot of turnover over years because kids age out. And so that would be the key thing to be working on is getting your council together just like you normally would, so that when we hit the ground, we can hit the ground running.
I will also say this, we don't expect you to be experts in all of this. That's why we're bringing you together, is to do some training in October, but also we have our area coordinators. They're going to know this curriculum, and we'd love for you to invite them to be guest speakers in your program and to let them model best practices and show you what could be done and how it can be done. Use them as a resource. We'd love to have you engage with them. That's a great question, Mercedes. You know, in reality, I have no idea what kind of competition you're going to have. I would have said on a regular year, I wish we could have funded 60 or 90 sites, because I think we could have filled them easy, but money is money and we can only fund so many sites. But on a COVID year, man, everybody might get in. I don't know. It just depends on if your program is active. I know that there have been some city council that have shut down their youth city councils. I know that some cities are operating like normal. And so it just depends. I have found a little bit about how urban or rural you are, but I will say this. If you are not chosen as one of the 30 sites, we do have some funding that is kind of what we're calling floating funding that can be utilized. And if we have somebody who applies, we think, man, they're just really close, we'd love to have them, or maybe some others we think we could help better, and so they're not quite one of our official 30 sites, there's still a chance that we can provide funding for you. And if there is ever a site who does not live up to the expectations and is not following through and doing what the program requires, they're going to be cut from the program, and you're a shoe-in to be stepped up into the program. So I'm hoping that there's opportunities, and to be honest with you, as we run through the program 1 year, we'll be able to reassess our budget and see how things are going, and to see if we have room to bring in some additional sites, which is my hope. And to be honest with you, our goal is to also partner with existing businesses to be able to show them, look, this is what we're accomplishing. This is what we're doing with this program. These are the impacts we're having from the surveys we're doing. We'd like you to fund a site. And if we can get these people on board to help fund sites, we'll be able to expand those opportunities in the future.
Adding to what Vernon said, our goal is not to exclude anybody. You know, we would hope to be able to have everyone be a site. What we're limited by are the funds. And with that, some of the the ways we have to make our choices, obviously, as you saw, we need to prioritize the counties that are on the list. And the reason is they were chosen because they have the highest needs in those areas of risky behaviors. There was background research put into that. As Vernon said, we do have a pool to add other people, but both, you know, some of the things we have to take into account, if we have more applicants than we have spots, our demographics, both not just the county, but also, you know, are you serving a high needs population? Is your youth council in an area with high needs? Then that might increase your chances. And then in the future years, really the biggest thing, if you're, once you're in, is are you doing what you said you would do? That's, you know, we want this to be something that you can build on and grow over the 3 years. And if you're doing what you said you would do and are an active part of the program, that funding will probably continue.
Continuing on with that same line, Ed, yes, if you are not funded, you will still be able to have access to the resources and curriculum. Yes, we're going to make that library available to everybody. And we will, the trainings that we do, you know, even if you're not a site and you would like to come to the trainings that we're doing, we would love you to come. You're just going to have to provide your own funding to get there. But we'll still let you do the training for free. We're not trying to do that. We would love to have as many people come as possible. Deb, do you want to address that question about collecting our own local data?
Yeah, so to be honest, as far as your community data, I've already put a lot of work into collecting that. You don't need to do that so much as what we're going to be asking from you are surveys and questionnaires about how your program is going, you know, who participated, what events did you put on. That background demographic type data and need data I can get. And so Mercedes, your question kind of follows that same idea. You don't need to tell us how high risk your community is. We already know. We've already got access to that data to know, you know, where the areas that have high teen pregnancy, high issues with drug abuse and with suicide rates and mental health issues, we've already got that data. You know, the biggest thing that you're telling us on the application is information about your youth council and what you're trying to do. Specifically, as Vernon said before, we're not saying we're only doing city youth councils or we only want student body officers. You know, we want a variety of youth councils of different types. And so the information we're asking for from you is who you are and what it is you're trying to do in your youth council. And that is the type of data we're looking for. And then as we go through the program, the data we're looking for is information on what you taught to your students, what you did for activities, you know, who attended, that kind of stuff. You're not going to have to do a lot of background research. That's more on us.
I will tell you, the application is 15 questions. Most of them are multiple choice. It'll probably take you 10 minutes to fill out the application. It's not a big drawn out process. It'll be pretty simple. I will say this. If I were somebody who was applying for a site, I think that an application on paper only says so much. I think which is way more impactful is putting a name to a face. And so if I were you, I would get to know our local area coordinators, those 4 ladies that are out in the areas, set up appointments, meet with them on Zoom or meet them face to face, whatever you're comfortable with and you're able to do. Put a name to the face. Let them know what your passions and desires are and what you're trying to accomplish. That's going to be just as powerful, if not more powerful, than the actual application. So make yourself available and let's see if we can partner and collaborate. All right, can you always open the application to click the question and complete it later? You know what?
Sorry, I was just
Yes.
throwing that out there. That I was just adding to it's a short survey. You don't need to, you can open it, you can finish it later if you just want to check out what it is now and complete the answers later.
To be super frank, the only reason this is an application is because we have limited spots. We want you to be part of our program. We want you to be there. We just, if we have more people apply than we can serve, then we have to go through our priority list. But if you're dedicated to do the program, we're very hopeful that we can get you in.
Agreed. All right, any final comments? Wow, if we can keep this to 45 minutes, that'll be amazing. Okay, like we said, this has been recorded. This information will be available also on the website, so you can always go back and reference it. Please, if you have any questions, our contact information is right there on the website. We'll be glad to answer them and address them. I would strongly encourage you to become friends with your local area representative. Mercedes, I don't know if it matters one way or the other. If you want to meet with the person, our area coordinator, and get some additional questions answered first before you apply, there's no race. So if somebody applies before another person, that doesn't mean anything. It just has to be in by the middle of September. So if you'd like to talk to your area coordinator first and get some more questions, get to know them better, and then apply, that's totally fine.
Hey, Vernon, what's Andrea's time frame? She's in, Mercedes is Salt Lake County.
So, oh, that's great. She is actually now starting to work and doing things online. One of our area coordinators just had a baby, so she's been on maternity leave. And so that's what Deb's referring to. But if you're not able to get a hold of Andrea because she's still working the maternity leave thing, Peggy Hoffman, who is our program coordinator, would be glad to help. And Mercedes, you can ask as many questions you want. All right, well, with that, I think we're going to close the recording. Thank you, everybody, for being here and asking great questions. I hope it'll help those that were not able to attend tonight, but probably have very similar questions to what you had today. Looking forward to working with you and seeing many of you at our October retreat. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, everyone.